Okay, there's a lot to talk about. So first I want to explain what happened with Smash Bros. 4, Pokemon Snap, and Poke Park Wii for Boundary Break episodes. A little while back, I promised that I would put out Poke Park Wii as the next episode, and while preparing for that, someone pointed me in the direction of a mod to unchain the camera in Smash Bros. 4. Now what happened was I saw some Twitter pictures, I got incredibly excited, jumped the gun a little bit, and immediately assumed that I could make it into a Boundary Break episode. Now if I could bestow a little bit of advice here, be fueled by your excitement, but remain vigilant. Because I of course made an announcement video before I really had a chance to play around with it and see what I could do with this new free camera. And unfortunately, while it does give you a nice little preview of the things to come, we're just not at the point where you can see all the details that you'd want to see in a Boundary Break episode. So I canceled that and moved back to Poke Park Wii. Now what happened was, and I gotta admit, this is when I started to lose the wind in my sails, I played Poke Park Wii for about 6 hours. Now Poke Park Wii was a game I had never played before, and while I mean no disrespect to anybody that enjoys these games, I personally, it was not fun for me. I didn't have fun doing it, but the absolute worst part about it was I was still committed to making the episode, because this particular episode wasn't about me, and I was willing to keep it that way, but I couldn't find anything that could be used for a Boundary Break episode. So that was like 6 hours down the tube, and so I set my sights on the poll winner, which was Pokemon Snap. And for Pokemon Snap, it's got the same issue as Star Fox 64, whereas if you push forward on the camera, it starts to dive, and you have to fight against that. But even worse is that you can't look behind you unless the character's looking behind him, and I can't get past the first level. Once I take all my pictures and I go to Professor Oak's lab, it doesn't let me highlight any photos to send to Professor Oak. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but unfortunately, unless I can figure out how to fix that, I can't even go on to the next level to see if there's anything interesting. But even in the first level, there was only one thing in particular that I found interesting. And I spent about 3 hours trying to figure everything out, and I just couldn't. So that's now 9 hours down the drain. And in my head I'm thinking to myself, man, this just went from fun to not fun. And I'm looking outside, I'm like, it's beautiful outside. And I wasted an entire day trying to make a viable episode for a show that I'm just doing for fun. So at that point I knew, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Star Fox 64. It might disappoint some people, but it's the only option that I have. So I'm working away at that with half the enthusiasm that I usually have because so many mistakes were made. But I still had fun. I absolutely love Star Fox, and of course, the enthusiasm you guys have for the show makes it all worth it. But one interesting comment that was left on my last video was about the intro. Someone went very in-depth about how I should really shorten my intros, and it's largely uninteresting, and so it'll get skipped ahead to the actual content. By no means is that insulting. I appreciate the openness of the comment, but it did re-spark something that's been going through my head. Should I keep doing intros? I'm pretty sure I want to keep doing outros. I think that's almost certain that I want to do that because someone can just click off the video if they don't want to look at my ugly face. But the intros are turning into something that I never really intended. I always intended for the intros and outros to be me. I don't like being a fake YouTuber. I don't like to force acting unless I can have a lot of fun with it. And so doing the commentary and Boundary Break is a lot of fun because I can be as goofy as I want and no one seems to really complain, so I keep it going. But then in the live action segments, I don't like to stand in front of a camera and be fake in front of you people. In fact, a lot of you early on said, please don't change that. And I agree. I absolutely agree. I just want to be me. I don't want to be an enormous exaggeration of myself. But as I continue to do more and more episodes, I was starting to notice that the contrast between reality and entertainment are just too different. And it does make me seem boring by comparison. And so what ended up happening was I was starting to, not intentionally, but I was starting to improv to make the intros as engaging as the meat of the show. But after reading that comment, I was like, you know, we're back to that now, aren't we? I gotta think about whether or not I actually want to keep the intros. And please, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think anybody loves them. At best, they'll find it mildly amusing, but I think we can all do without it, right? So I think for future episodes, I'm just going to do the fun little camera trick, followed by the title screen of the game, and then move right on to the show. Because when I first started doing that, I didn't think about real talk. And now that I have that, well, hey, I'll just save all my thoughts for this. You come here expecting me to be real with you. It's in the title, right? But listen, if there's a silent majority out there that actually does like the intros a lot, please speak up, because I'll be willing to keep them if that's what people actually want. Alright, this episode got a little depressing, didn't it? We gotta fix that. So here's some good news. I'm noticing that my subscriber count is going up, even when I don't put out a new video. I think YouTube's algorithm is finally pointing people in my direction, which is really cool. I hope you guys enjoy. The weird thing about people subscribing periodically throughout the day, though, is they don't really seem to comment all that much. They're not as engaging as my original audience. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit strange. I kind of want to get to know you guys. Like, the thing is, I don't have a subscriber number. No. People make that mistake all too often. I have 2,735 people, human beings, with their own stories to tell, who saw my videos and decided to invest in my channel to see what new videos I'm going to be putting out. So hello there, introduce yourself, let me know who you are. I'd love to get to know you. Not on a deep personal level, but, you know, tell me why you decided to subscribe to this channel. I think that would be really cool. And OG crew, feel free to let me know how the channel's going. I feel like I see less and less of you guys. I hope you're still watching. So anyway, we have a viewer request. This one's a little strange, and actually it's perfectly timed because Finding Dory's coming out. I swear I didn't plan this. But a viewer asked if I could do a Boundary Break episode on Finding Nemo for GameCube. He wants to see the backgrounds and stuff, and just to see how far it goes. Now, I told him I probably couldn't do a whole episode of Boundary Break on it, and that's just because my heart wouldn't be in it. I think a very, very small minority of people would even be interested in watching that. However, I did tell him that I would help him out, and that I would post a clip of some of the backgrounds and stuff for Finding Nemo, and I hope it's entertaining. But listen, it's absolutely my pleasure to bring this to you. I hope you get a chance to see it, and I hope that you're enjoying Finding Dory. So my final thoughts. Thank you all so much for all of your support, whether it be through comments, sharing my videos on Reddit, giving me advice on how to keep the show more entertaining, or passionately telling me that you subscribe to the channel because you believe in what I'm doing here. That's really cool. Part of getting bigger and bigger on YouTube is that you stand to disappoint more and more people if you make a mistake, and none of you have made me feel that way. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy Luigi's Mansion, and oh my god, you know, one thing I forgot to mention, the new Zelda looks freaking incredible. Oh, I was worried about it, but not anymore. I can't wait for that game. This episode's going on too long. Alright guys, hey, if you listen to this episode... okay, so if you listen to the entire episode this time, the secret word is Gibblegorp 3000. Again, you don't have... there's no commitment to doing that. Alright guys, thank you so much for your support. I'll see ya.